Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. And tonight, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be doing my 2025 to 2026 Premier League predictions. I've been missing out the past few years. I think the last time I did it was back in 2021 or something like that. So, I've been missing out the last couple of years. So I saw Spencer FC's video on my recommended for YouTube and I was like, you know what, why don't I do it? I've got the Arsenal calendar up there. I thought, you know what, let's put on my favourite Arsenal sweatshirt and let's get into it. I've put heaps, probably about 3.5 hours of research and everything into this video. So yeah, if you could watch the whole thing, it'd be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So I've written a few notes on every single team. So I've got who they've signed, who's gone. About 1,600 words on Google Docs, but it should be worth it. So we'll start off with 20th place. In 20th place, I've gone with Leeds United. Now, you might be a bit surprised, maybe not. I'm just going to read my notes up on Leeds here. So they've signed Lucas Nemecha from Wolfsburg, who I've heard is a pretty good player. And they've signed Sean Longstaff from Newcastle for 12 million. Other than that, though, I don't think they've signed that many players. And they've had a few departures as well, so I just don't see them struggling. Obviously, the past few years has seen a pattern of all three promoted clubs from the Championship getting relegated. I don't have that in my video today, but obviously it's a pattern that could keep happening with the bridge between the two leagues getting a lot bigger. So that's what I've got in 20th place. I've got Leeds United. In 19th place, I've got another team that's just been promoted, and that is Sunderland. Now, I know it was a fantastic fashion in the way they got promoted in the last gasp winner, by Tommy Watson in the 95th minute against Sheffield. But, I just don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to stay up. I think losing Joe Bellingham to Dortmund was really big for them. And obviously losing Tommy Watson as well to Brighton shortly after he made that winner was also pretty crucial. And I'll read up on some of my notes as well. They have signed ex-Arsenal player Granit Xhaka, and I'm so stoked to seeing him back in the Premier League. Obviously, he was a bit of a decisive character, but for me, I absolutely loved him. He had the hunger, he had the grit. He was passionate. He was the most passionate player I think I've seen, probably ever. Well, at least by the time I've been watching the Premier League, so passionate, loves football, and I think he will be. He will try and inspire Sunderland to stay up, but I just don't think it'll be enough. It's usually some of the Championship teams which go down, so have put Sunderland down, but it won't be a fault of Granit Xhaka, I don't think. In 18th place, though, I haven't gone with Burnley, who are the other promoted side. You may be able to guess who I've gone with, and it's Wolves, actually. I think Wolves they've lost Matheus Cunha to Man United. They've lost Ryan Ait-Nouri to Man City. I think they've really struggled last year. I think they finished 16th or something, just outside bottom three. This year, I think they'll finally go back down to the Championship and finish 18th. I think they're going to really, really struggle. I was going on the Premier League website and look at all the summer transfer windows. That's how I did all my research. And, they've signed Strain Larson on a permanent deal. They've signed John Aris from Fluminense for around £15 million. So I don't really know who he is. No disrespect to the guy. But I just don't think they're going to be strong enough at all. And I think Wolves will finally, go down to the Championship, which will be sad to see, but I just don't think they have enough. And 17th is the third promoted side. It's Burnley. I think they're going to stay up. I think they're going to do it. I'll scroll right up to the top because I did have quite a lot of notes here on Burnley. Here it is just there. So I've said, they've signed Dubravka and Armando Broja, both Premier League proven quality. I think that's what all Championship sides need. They've signed Kyle Walker too for just £5 million from Man City. Obviously, he wasn't doing too well there in his last few years, but honestly, it's another Premier League proven player, Premier League champion, and he'll definitely inspire them to stay up. They've signed Marcus Edwards as well, ex-Spurs player from Sporting for 8.5 million. Fantastic signing. They've signed Leslie Ugochukwu from Chelsea, who was another good player last year, a young player coming through. They've signed Axel Tuanzebe from Ipswich, ex-Man United player, another good signing. The one big departure, though, is obviously James Trafford. Now, I didn't actually know he moved until doing this video, but he's gone to Man City. The best keeper in the Championship, one of the best keepers in England, and I was reading up on some stats. In 45 games that he played in the Championship, he only conceded 16 goals, and in that time, he kept 29 clean sheets. That's absolutely insane, and obviously a massive, massive part in why Burnley were able to get 100 points And also, actually, funny enough, tied with Leeds, but obviously got second. And I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to stay up. So they're in 17th place. In 16th place, I've gone with Brentford. I think Brentford are going to really struggle this year after losing Brian Mbeumo to Man United for 71 million. Yeah, I think they're going to really struggle. I haven't written too many notes. At least I have quite a lot of notes there on Brentford as well. Obviously, Thomas Frank, I was so sad to see him go because I think he's an absolute legend at Brentford. He's there for 6 years or so. And to just see him go to Spurs, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Not just because I'm an Arsenal fan, but because I think he would actually succeed more at Brentford than he would at Spurs. I think he's going to be under way more pressure at Spurs. I don't think he's going to have the freedom to do what he likes. He's not going to be trusted by the managers, by the players. He's not going to know them as well. I think it's going to be really sad to just see him not do well at Spurs. And, you know, Brentford, they've signed a manager called Keith Andrews, who I did some research on him. I believe this is his first managerial role. He had a career throughout the years in the Championship, playing for Watford and many other Championship teams, such as West Brom. I just don't think Brentford are going to do very well. I wouldn't be surprised if they go down as well, to be honest. 16th is where I've got them. They've signed Jordan Henderson, who obviously is near the end of his career. Somehow still getting England called up most times, though. They've signed Kelleher from Liverpool, which I do think is a solid signing. You know, they've lost Mark Flicker and he's gone back to Germany. But yeah, Kelleher's a solid signing. He's one of the best backup goalies in the league, so that's solid. They've lost Christian Norgard to Arsenal, of course, which, you know, doesn't help. So, and, you know, Wisser and Damsgaard are going to have to carry that attack pretty hard. So I've got them in 16th place. Now, 15th, I've got a London team. Goes by the name of West Ham, the Hammers. I've got them in 15th. They've signed Max Hermansen after letting Fabianski go. I was impressed with him last season at Leicester, actually. I thought he was really good. He played really well against Arsenal, I thought. And yeah, they let Cresswell go as well. They've signed Callum Wilson and Kyle Walker-Peters. And obviously the massive loss for West Ham is Mohamed Kudus to Spurs for about £55 million. One of their best players last year, so Bowen's really going to have to step up. But yeah, 15th for West Ham. I don't think they're going to do very well. I think they're going to really struggle. Now, Bournemouth, I've got them in 14th. You might be pretty surprised. They had a pretty good year last year, but, you know, I've got the top list. At the top of this row is Lostine Howson to Real Madrid. The chill guy, you know, he brought a vibe to the Premier League. He was a solid guy. But he's gone to Real Madrid now for 50-odd million, and he's a really big loss. They've lost, obviously, Kepa to Arsenal. They've lost Milos Kerkez to Liverpool. The team's really starting to fall apart. They've lost Jadon Anthony to Burnley, who I've said here could be a potential relegation rival. Who have they signed? They've signed an 18-year-old kid called Eli Junior Krupi, who I don't know much about. But to be fair, he has the stats to back it up. He's brought for 12 million from League 2 in French from Lorient, and he absolutely killed it there. He scored 22 goals and 2 assists in 30 matches, so who knows? He could be the new young kid on the block. They've also signed Prečevic for 25 million. I think that's a bit of an overpayment from Bournemouth there. I don't think he's worth that much, but, you know, he could, you know, prove me wrong. Yeah, I think Bournemouth are going to really struggle with them key players gone. In 13th, I've gone with another London side. I've gone with Fulham. I was lucky enough to go to Craven Cottage a few years ago. I think it was, actually no, 2024 Christmas, I think. No, sorry, 2023 Christmas, I believe it was, with Fraser, and saw Raul Jimenez, of course. But yeah, Fulham, I think they're going to struggle again. You know, they've only made one signing. His name's Benjamin Lecomonte from Montpellier, and he's worth £500,000. You know, it's an incredible price to sign a goalie these days for that low, but, you know, with no real signings, I think they're just going to stay the same and finish 13th. Now, 12th, this is going to really surprise some people, and it may just be because of my pure distaste for the club. But in 12th place, I've gone with Spurs. I think they're going to struggle. You know, Ange has gone and Thomas Frank's come in. You know, the third season was better than the second season. So, is it? We'll see. They've signed Kudus for 55 million. They've signed Paulinho on loan. They've got Matthias Tell permanently. But obviously, the big loss is their captain, leader, legend, Son Heung-min. I was actually lucky enough to see him play when he played at the Emirates back in 2018 Christmas, I think it was. He even scored that day. But yeah, such a legend, such a nice guy, lovely player. And obviously, he's going to LA Galaxy, I believe, no. Los Angeles Football Club or something like that, a team in MLS. So, yeah, he said it wasn't his first choice, but he's gone there. And I think Spurs are going to struggle. You know, 12th is pretty harsh for them. I know people will be tipping them to get top 8, but yeah, I'm going for them in 12th. In 11th place, I've gone with a team that normally finishes 12th. That's Crystal Palace. obviously they won the FA Cup last year. They shocked everyone. They had Dean Henderson shouting that chant, which I won't repeat on this channel, but you can research and find it for yourself. But yeah, they've signed. Only made 2 signings this transfer window. They've signed Walter Benitez from PSV, who's a keeper I know well from FIFA, and they've signed Borna Sosa from Torino. But I think the main thing is they haven't sold Eberechi Eze. He was heavily linked to my club Arsenal at the start of summer, the transfer window. So it's great that he hasn't lost. They haven't lost Eze, and I've also put down they've released Rob Holding, because he's an Arsenal player. But yeah, 11th place for Crystal Palace. And I almost said them just then, but in 10th place, I've gone with Brighton and Hove Albion. We'll just get their notes up here. The biggest loss, surely for them, is losing João Pedro to Chelsea for 60 million. And they've also lost Simon Adingra to Sunderland for £21 million. They also lost Estupiñán for 17 million, who was a solid left back for them. And haven't really made that many signings. So they've signed Maxime de Cooper from Club Brugge for 17.3 million pounds. But they're by far their biggest signing of the summer transfer window. Now I'm definitely going to butcher his name. It's Charalampos Koustoulis from Olympiacos. There we go. Only 18 years old and signed for £30 million. So obviously, same age as me, but they must see some talent in the young kid. So fair play to him. So 10th for Brighton, and in 9th, I've gone with my friend Caleb's team. Caleb, if you're watching, Everton. I've gone for them in 9th. That's pretty high after last year. I think they finished 13th or maybe closer to the bottom. But yeah, I've gone 9th for Everton. I think they're going to be really good this year. I believe Sean Dyche is still their manager. And they've signed Dewsbury Hall from Chelsea for £28 million. A solid buy, solid pickup. They've signed Mark Travers from Bournemouth as a backup keeper. And they've signed Adam Anzu for £8 million. The main person I want to talk about is Tierno Barry from Villarreal for £27 million. An exciting new striker for them. So hopefully he'll be bagging some goals for them. And they also let Decore go, which I don't really see why. I think they just released him, end of his contract. I thought he was a key player for them last year, so I was a bit surprised when I saw that. But yes, I've gone for Everton in 9th. In 8th place, I've gone with Nottingham Forest. A first line I put down for them is that they've lost Elanga. It's huge they've lost Elanga. It's so sad for them. The Swedish talent to Newcastle. And I've put here that his link up with Chris Wood was crucial in their success last year. The person they've brought in to replace him is a man called Dan Ndwai for £40 million from Bologna. So I've put here, will he be able to fill Elanga's boots? I guess time will tell. But I've put Forest at 8th. It's still quite high for them, to be fair. And yes, I put them in 8th. Now, 7th is a team that have been very, very bad the past few years. And they made the Europa League final last year. It's my friend Finn's team, Man United. I've put them in 7th. Which, I think it's pretty respectable considering they finished 15th last year. I was joking around with them that I didn't actually think they would finish in the top 10. But I have to be realistic. They've made an absolutely outstanding transfer window, signing Mateus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, and now Benjamin Sesko. I just think it's a really, really good attack. And although the defence may let them down at times, I think Bruno and them three can really carry them. And 7th, could be maybe an understatement, maybe an overstatement. It's really hard to predict Man United at the moment. They're super up and down. And maybe if they get 5 wins in a row this year, that guy can finally cut his hair. So, yeah, I've gone with them in 7th. And, 6th place, though, we've gone for Unai Emery's team, Aston Villa. Had a really good Champions League run last year. And I've put here that Coutinho's moved back to Vasco da Gama, back to his boyhood club in Brazil. Obviously, loans for Rashford, Asensio, and Disasi have all ended, which have meant they've gone back to clubs. Forgot to mention, I hope Rashford comes back one day to Man United and excels for England again. A top talent. And they've signed Marco Bizot from Brest, the goalkeeper. But the main player they've signed is a man called Ivan Guizand from Nice for £35 million. Played 33 games last year in League and scored 12 goals and 8 assists. And he could be a very good partnership for Ollie Watkins. So yeah, we've got them in 6th. And 5th place, I've got Newcastle. Now signing Anthony Elanga, that's class business from them. Signing off a local rival, proven talent. I can't see him failing there. And at the time of recording this video, Alexander Isak is still a Newcastle player. Obviously been linked to Liverpool a lot. But at the time of recording, he's also a Newcastle player, so I put them there based off of that. They've signed Nicholas Jackson as well, which is a bit of a funny signing, but maybe they're preparing for that Isak departure. Hopefully not, though. And so Anthony Elanga. They also signed Aaron Ramsdale from Southampton. He's a proven keeper, no matter what people say about him. He's proven. He played for Arsenal at one point. Despite his 3 relegations, he's still a top keeper. So Newcastle, you're going in 5th. Top 4. Now, you'll be able to work out who I haven't said so far in this video. And in 4th place, I've gone with 5-time Premier League champions, maybe even more, Manchester City. And I don't think they're going to do as well. I don't think they're going to win the league for another season. They've lost Kevin De Bruyne, who was sort of deteriorating toward the end of his, contract, which expired, and that's why he went to Napoli. They have had a good window. They've signed Reinac Nori. They've signed Ryan Cherkry. There's that clip of him going around scoring banger after banger after banger in French training. Where he just loops it up, chips it, bang, top right, left foot, right foot, top left. Just banging goals left, right, and centre. A real technician from Lyon for £36.5 million. They've signed Tijani Reinders from AC Milan for almost £50 million. This reminds me of the summer back in 2016 where they signed Leroy Sané, John Stones, Gabriel Jesus. They signed Gundogan, all them players. Obviously James Trafford, who will be a fantastic backup to Ederson. So yep, I've got them in 4th place. I think they could win the league, but I've got them in 4th. In 3rd place, I've got the Club World Cup champions, Chelsea. I think it was unreal how quickly João Pedro adapted to that team. He scored banger after banger in the semis and quarters, and then Cole Palmer does what Cole Palmer does. He doesn't feel pressure. He does what he does all the time, which is unreal. They've also signed Jamie Giddens from Dortmund. I didn't realise it cost them almost £50 million. Absolutely unreal. So they've signed João Pedro, Giddens. They've also signed Liam Delap for £30 million from Ipswich. Who had I've put here that he's a real warrior. He's got that dog mentality. He has great spirit. So yeah, I think they could really help him. They've also signed Jorel Hato from Ajax for roughly £35 million. A really good left back from Ajax, the Dutch league. I've put in they've lost a few players, but all in all, I think they've brought in more exciting ones. So they could definitely finish 3rd. Now 2nd, you notice I haven't named 2 clubs so far, Liverpool and Arsenal. And I'm actually going to go put Liverpool in 2nd place, which means I think Arsenal are going to win the league. I know it's crazy to say we haven't won it since, before I was born in 2004, so it's been a long time. But Liverpool, after all the transfer saga, Trent did decide to leave to Real Madrid. It's a bit of a shame, but, he wants to win the Ballon d'Or, so... Yep, and they lost Darwin Núñez, sadly, to Saudi Arabia. They lost Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich, but obviously... The most sad of them all is them losing Diogo Jota. I won't go into it too much. It's obviously a terrible thing to happen to anyone, and a fantastic man that gone far too soon. So rest in peace, Diogo Jota. He should have been playing this season. It's just shocking. So rest in peace to him, and I'm sure there'll be a minute's silence on the opening day. So they've also brought in Mamardashvili, from Georgia. He was an awesome goalie who really impressed me at the Euros and obviously really impressed Liverpool. That's why they've brought him. They've also signed Jeremy Frimpong, who was a childhood Liverpool fan from Leverkusen. They've also signed Florian Wirtz, which I believe is the British transfer record. I've got it down here. It's £116 million. Absolutely crazy. And they've also signed Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt for £80 million. So another amazing transfer window for Liverpool, but I've got them in 2nd, finishing behind my club, Arsenal. I know what you're going to say. People are going to get on to me saying you're biased. Totally fair, honestly. I would do the same thing. I just think they've done enough, They've signed Madueke, £55 million from Chelsea, who, I'll be honest, his output wasn't good enough at all last year. I think he played 46 games, got 11 goals, 3 assists. He got that hat-trick against Wolves, but that was about the only time he had a good game, I think. Well, that's a bit harsh, but he didn't really have the output last year. They've signed Gyökeres from Sporting. After all that wait, he scored. During the celebration, he scored against Athletic Bilbao yesterday in the Emirates Cup, so love that. Thomas Partey, after his allegations, he's out the door. They got the boot to Villarreal. Well, that's what I think at least, from Fabrizio Romano. We've also signed Martin Zubimendi for £51 million from Real Sociedad. Brilliant CDM. Got that Spanish connection. So does Kepa and Arteta. You know, got that Spanish connection. Can really link up well. And finally, they've signed Christian Norgard and Christian Mosquera from Valencia. So yeah, I just think Arsenal have done enough. It'll be interesting to see how we do. Will we flop? Will we finish outside the top 4 potentially? It could happen, but yeah, I'll put up probably here's probably better for the 1 to 20 ladder. So yeah, that's all the research I've done for this video. I've put in, like I said, 3.5 hours worth probably of research this Sunday afternoon. So, you know, if you could like the video, maybe even subscribe would be massive help, and I'd really appreciate it. Here we are. I think Arsenal are going to win the Premier League this season. I hope so, at least. And it's wishful thinking at the same time, isn't it? So this is a wee cushion I made back in year 7 or year 8. So yes, I think Arsenal are going to win the Premier League this year. I hope so. Like that poster says, come on, you Gunners. And yeah, like I said, I put loads of research and time into this video. So hopefully you will appreciate it. And I'll be back with some more content very soon. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, and also if you want to leave any recommendations, just let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And I'll see you all in the next one.